So hi everyone and welcome back to the next video. In this video I would like to give you a brief overview about audio signal processing and how we could use filters to improve the quality of recordings. So this video probably is not for everyone, but rather it addresses those of you who want to take it one step further and also plan to record their lectures, for example to make use of flipped classroom concepts or stuff like that. So in this video I'm going to discuss some basics of audio filtering, but this video is not intended to be the big thing which explains everything. Rather it is intended to just present you a brief overview of the concepts and not go into too much detail. This is for two reasons. So the first reason is I'm not a sound engineer and I'm still learning in this topic. So I'm just experimenting on myself, and the more I learn, the more I consider sound engineering not as engineering discipline, but rather as kind of art. That's the one thing. And the second thing is that for configuring audio filters in OBS, many really good tutorials are available for free on YouTube. So if you really want to go into more detail there, I suggest you to just check YouTube. I will show you later some of them. Okay, but now let's start and take a closer look what audio filtering looks like and which type of filters we can use and what they are intended to do. So first of all, if we think about audio filtering, we have to think about a pipeline of different filters where every filter is addressing a different purpose. So the typical pipeline comprises of filters like a noise suppression, which intends to reduce background noise, some noise gate, maybe an equalizer for improvement of your voice, a compressor to level the output volume, and in the end probably a gain filter. First of all, let's take a closer look what these filters are doing in detail. So the first one of these filters, the noise suppression, basically tries to, as the name says, to suppress all the background noise in your recording place. Like for example, some noise from your computer, maybe you have a heating system running in the background like I do in the moment. So basically this filter tries to remove the steady noise that you have in your background. And typically you don't need to configure it on your own. Rather, these filters have a pretty cool functionality that they are recording the noise and then they will keep this signal in the memory and use it as a baseline for subtracting noise from your signal then. The second one that we have typically is a noise gate, and this noise gate tries to make the silence really silent. So basically this noise gate is like a door. It closes the microphone signal until a certain threshold is superseded, and then the microphone opens. And this filter we typically use to reduce noise, for example, like the keystrokes from your keyboard when you type something, or the clicking sound of your mouse and stuff like that. After the noise reduction, in the next filter we typically try to improve the voice of the speaker, and this is done by using an equalizer. And as mentioned earlier, the configuration of equalizers is more art than engineering. So I suggest to browse the internet to find some ideas, and I'm still learning on this as well. Yeah, and after treatment of the different noise and frequency parts of our signal, very often a compressor is used, and this compressor tries to limit the volume of your audio signal and to keep it in a certain bandwidth. So this means if the signal is too loud, it is compressed for a certain bandwidth, and if it's too silent, it can be increased just to keep a constant level of volume here. And the last filter, which is very often only used optional, is a so-called gain, which basically amplifies the signal as a final step. But as I mentioned, optional, So as far as I've seen, this filter is most of the time not necessary. Very often it's only used if the amplification of your microphone sound is limited somewhere else, for example in the Windows system settings or on your microphone directly. So the suggestion is to amplify the signal first, so you don't need to use an extra gain filter. Yeah, and that's the basic filter chain. And now let's take a closer look how we can realize such a filter chain in OBS. So for that reason, I will switch to my monitor again. And you see my OBS is open. And in OBS, then you already know we have different scenes. And for example, my scene is currently this one that I'm using during recording. And for every scene, you have different sources. And one source here is my audio source. This is basically the microphone I'm using. It's a Yeti Blue. And I have used this one and called it Yeti Speaking. And similar to the video sources that we have been using before, you can apply filters to the audio sources as well. So just by right-clicking here, we can access the filter menu right here. And there you already see that I have created a certain filter pipe. That's the one that I'm using for recording here. Yeah, and basically that's how we create such a pipe. Let's take a closer look how to do it in detail. So similar as to the video filters, we just can hit the plus sign. And here you can select some of the filters that are already provided by OBS by default. They are pretty okay and you can work with them. But I prefer to use the VST plugin from RIA, which you can download. I can show you here. Typically, if you just search for OBS RIA plugin, then you will be directed to the Reaper homepage, Reaper FM, that's the company, and they provide for free the RIA Plugs VST suite, which you can download here and install, and then they are available in OBS as well. So let's take a look. So what we do now typically is we create, by clicking the plus, we add a filter, and here we select VST 2.x plugin, and I call it my demo filter, for example. Okay. And now in this filter you can select which plugin you want to choose. And so we open this, and here you find all these individual RIA filters that you just installed. So I don't select one here, I just delete this filter by hitting the minus symbol. Yes. And now let's take a look at the filter chain that I already implemented. So the first one here is the noise suppression. You see it's a RIA filter, and by open plugin interface, I will see the user interface, which shows me basically the yellow lines, my actual signal, and the red line is basically the noise. So if I'm silent for a moment, then you see that the signal stays right below. And typically this filter is configured in a very simple way. You just select subtract here, and then if you tag this checkbox and be silent for a while, and then you uncheck it, then this time, as while it was checked, the filter learns about the noise in your background and will store this configuration as its noise suppression level. So that's pretty easy. Then we have the noise gate. We can again open the plugin interface. And here in the noise gate, again, you already see the level, the output level of my voice when I'm speaking. And basically what you do is with this controller on the left, you can determine, or you can select which level you want to have the noise gate. For the noise gate was the threshold. And here you have some parameters for the filter. Again, I don't want to go into detail here, but I rather show you later some links where you can learn more about filter configuration. Then the same thing for the equalizer. Here in the equalizer, you can integrate different different types of filters and shelves. Like I have a low shelf here. Here I have different types of band filters and the low pass in the end. And what you can do here is basically you can shape which parts of the frequency spectra you want to have and what you want to cut off. And this configuration, as mentioned before, is, to me, it's more art like science, but it's also fun to play around, and you will find plenty of tutorials there on YouTube as well, or in the internet in general. Then we have the compressor, which we can take a look at. For the compressor, again, we can select the ratio, how much compression we want to have if the signal becomes too loud, and what's the level that we, yeah, I think I don't need to explain it in more detail right here. Yeah, and the gain as the last filter, I put it to 0 dB, so actually I don't need it. So basically, that's in a very brief way just to show you how to integrate filters in OBS in general. And if you want to learn more about filter configuration in OBS or anywhere else, I suggest to just Google for OBS audio filter settings, and you will find plenty of tutorials here on YouTube, which are done by sound engineers that really know what they are talking about. My personal favorite, I have to say, it's in German, but it's the one from Nilsson 1489. He really presents a pretty comprehensive and very good online tutorial for everything in relation with OBS. And so I think if you really want to record some lectures or something like that, then probably it's a good investment of time to go into more detail here. Yeah, so basically, I hope you like this brief overview. This should just be understood as a door opener, how to find a way where to go, rather than presenting the whole way. And yeah, I hope you liked it. And in the next video, I will go into some different topic, and I would like to show you my favorite gimmicks and gadgets that I find helpful for online lecture and teaching. So see you there in a while, and have fun with experimenting. See you.